right, everyone. Happy Monday. Hope you all had a fantastic weekend and enjoyed it out there. Things were a little scary on Friday into the close, and things feel, I think, a lot better today. So, what a difference one candle can make. I know you were all expecting, Jeremy, I apologize to disappoint you, but the solar is not installed on the island yet, and they lost power again. So, um, Matt asked if I could do the room, and I said sure. I just cannot go late because I do have a appointment this afternoon. So yeah, let's jump in and take a look at the SPY. Now this is a little frustrating. I hate that TradingView seems to be doing this quite often lately. Is that there's this little lower wick here. We actually opened the low is right here at 385.54. The open was 385.59. So we literally only went one nickel lower, and then we started just rampaging all day. So this was a very big gap, considering that we closed down here with a pretty rough close, and then we gapped all the way up there. That was a pretty big gap. We gapped into moving averages. I shorted the SPY today. We made a little tiny bit of money. Nothing super exciting. I think I made like $86 on the SPY short, but all the long stuff, like if you bought any dips or a lot of things that looked really rough on Friday, they look a lot better out there today. So this lower wick again is not exact. It should be right where this blue line is. Is that a Morningstar reversal? Yes, it is. It's off the 50, so yet again, the 50 does bounce us. Although this intraday move and this intraday move felt a lot different. Like this felt like more of a washout than this does. So I don't know if this holds, but if it does, I think that it could, and that's cool if it does. If it doesn't, that won't necessarily surprise me. But yeah. So we'll see what happens. The Qs, again, looks better than it did on Friday. We're back above the 50. I'll be more excited once this gap fills on the Qs. So this is this open retest gap. So it's a bearish retest gap. We traded down, we retested, we rolled, and it looks like we might be coming in for a little bit of a double bottom and then a neckline test. But again, this move still has to happen here. So once this gap is filled, I'll feel a little bit better on the Qs because it's just a little bit weaker than SPY. IWM was also looking like a double top with a neckline retest. I mean, look at this candle today. Looks really nice. We didn't close above this candle, so we could just be in for some chop. I actually think that's what might happen, is we're just in for some chop. I know there's a lot of economic things this week. I think there's like some payroll stuff at the end of the week. There is the stimulus news that may or may not get passed. So yeah, if I go over and take a look on TrendSpider also has this lower wick, which again, I don't know what's up with the data. It just is what it is. If you look intraday, we didn't actually trade down there. But if you look at this candle, that looks quite a bit different than this candle. So that's kind of interesting. And the same thing if I go over to the Qs. If I look at the raindrops. The raindrop chart looks like charts on acid. I'll just have to take your word for it, Mr. Wage, because I don't have experience to tell you yes or no on that one. But yeah, that candle looks a lot different on the raindrop. So if we do just rampage higher, I get it. I get it. So that's IWM. The DIA also, we did take out this candle and close above it. This looks a little bit different because, you know, we just made the prior all-time high like a couple days ago. So yeah, if we end up, I mean, This monthly on the Qs, like, sorry, weekly. Or yeah, monthly. This monthly still looks like a little bit of a shooting star to me. But we'll see. It's only the first day. Only the first day of March. So we'll see what happens. If I had a crystal ball, I would let y'all know. I don't, so we're just cruising along here. If you are in, like, in my opinion, again, this is just my opinion, how I manage my accounts, you should not be heavy on margin up here. There's just absolutely no reason to be on margin when we are like 1.5% off of all-time highs. So if you're in margin or close to being in margin, some of this rip, higher could give you a chance to trim up some of those positions and things like that. So that's, again, just my opinion. Take it for what it's worth. So we will jump on in. iClick. I'm not sure exactly what this is, but it looks like it's in a pretty good trend. I like this weekly hammer, and we bounced almost right off of this high. What was the high here? 1232. The low of this was 1226. So yeah, very, very close. Click on it. Yeah, no idea what this one is, but some type of advertising. This looks relatively bullish. It's a little bit of a cheaper stock. So, could end up setting something up like this. A little bit of a retest. The limit buy. Stop down there. That seems pretty wide. I would normally say this, but since I don't know anything about this company, I don't want it to pull a core medics on us. So I would probably go with something a little wider like that if I really wanted it. Which, by the way, let me cover. So I know that we took some slippage on this swing trade. I was personally not in this swing trade. A lot of people, whenever they bring up charts like this to me, and I always say, oh, I don't play these. I don't hold them overnight. This is why. This is why Robert doesn't play these things. And I'd rather miss the upside and not have to stress out about this type of downside action where it just gaps like way through your stop. So any like medical, pharmaceutical stuff, like there's a lot of one-off headlines. Like this is just bad luck, really. But yeah, it became the reality for anyone in that trade, and I think it was like a 2.5 R loss. So yeah, so that's the only thing with iClick. I would go with a little bit wider stop just because I wouldn't want it to hit us with the core medics type of gap. Apps, this was a phenomenal move today on APPS. This retest was fantastic too. I like this company. I'm in, and Jonathan's in it off of Momo. Yeah, Matt added it to his Momo list. I think if you're not in off Momo, that you could probably look to. This one can throw in some pretty big wicks. So I think you might be able to get it, like, let's say 85. Like 85, 88 area. Somewhere in here. Anywhere in this area. With a stop probably down here, just because, again, this thing can throw in some massive candles. So I would do something like this with a limit buy if you're not already in. I'm already in apps. I don't think I'm gonna add to the position just yet or anything, but I do like apps. So if you're liking apps, this could be a setup. You could do like 58 like that. That's like $20 stop, but this thing throws in, $10, $15 candles. Here's a $20 candle. Like, it's nothing. So, because it's pretty wild throughout the day, some pretty big moves. So, yeah, that's a pretty big stop, but this one can move like crazy. Remember when you came aware when you became aware of apps? It was around $25, and I was like, "What the heck is this?" Yeah, yeah. I mean, just what was it? I don't know if Thomas is here, but it was somewhere over here. Like we were selling $30 puts on it. Somewhere back over like December. Maybe it was even here in January. Um, yeah, yeah. So it looks good. I'm in. I like it. It was January. Okay. So yeah, I think those expired worthless. Iron Mountain, was this the GameStop thing when this went nuts? Was this heavily shorted? Real estate investment trust, pretty boring in a giant channel that it's been in for. When did it enter this channel? 16 years ago. I mean, the gift of a lifetime to sell up here. Yeah, it doesn't have weekly options yet. Maybe they'll add them though. Now that it's starting to, I think that might tamper down some of the movement volatility in it. They do add those weekly options, Ron. But yeah, that was a gift on Iron Mountain. So if you're in Iron Mountain, if it trades up into the higher part of this channel, I personally would just sell it and then buy it if it trades back into the lower part of this channel that it's been in for the last, you know, whatever it was, 2005, 16 years or something. So yeah, super boring real estate investment trust. They store things. They're like professional hoarders is what they do. Neo. So if you're into hoarding, Iron Mountain is your stock. Neo, it's acting like it released. Okay, that might be earnings. I was waiting on this to release earnings. I thought it was here, but then I looked and I couldn't find anything. So I'm guessing the earnings are releasing right now on Neo. Depending on where this opens, this could be a nice gap. Again, this retest gap up here that is not filled. The bearish retest gap. We gap down, retested, rolled over, tried to bounce, and then if we end up gapping below here, I think that this could continue lower. Um, I haven't got a chance to look at the earnings, so I guess it'll really just depend on what the earnings are and look like. But Neo is very, very high up there from just a valuation standpoint. I would much rather buy Tesla like every day versus Neo. Neo's actually much more expensive from a valuation standpoint. So $80 billion market cap on 1.93 billion in sales, trading over 40 price to sales. But again, I don't know what their earnings is looking like. So I think it was pricing in. Let's see what was priced into the move. Pricing in like a $6 gap. So it's only down 1.2, so it's probably crushing anyone who bought options. Makes sense. Yeah, it can definitely be good for day trading, but yeah, I'm not a big fan of the battery replacement strategy either. So I would personally rather be in Tesla, but we'll see what happens where it opens tomorrow. Could be good for a day trade short, maybe. Fire Eye. So this one has pulled back pretty solid. I think it's pulling into an area where if you wanted Fire Eye, you could probably take a stab at it. Let's see, is this? Where did we go to a weekly? Drop from here to here. So we're right around that 50% retracement. So yeah, if you're trying Fire Eye, it's probably right in this area. I don't see anything that I particularly love on it. I thought about trading it back over here, but it's been too long now. Smile Direct. So I was looking at this one a bit yesterday. I do kind of like this trend that Smile Direct has. It has earnings really soon. In this almost a megaphone pattern. The channel looks like it's expanding a little bit, not too drastically, but it is holding this trend line, so that's kind of neat. But I think it's obviously going to come down to earnings here in a few days on Smile Direct Club. So this one has earnings on Friday, it looks like. Yeah, earnings on Friday. It's pricing in $1.50 move. So yeah, there's definitely some premium on it. If you want to set up some type of earnings play with options, you could. This is a little cheap one. This one might actually be worth buying like a straddle. And then if it gaps really massive, either shorting the shares if it gaps up or buying the shares if it gaps low to lock in a gain, maybe over earnings, depending on what kind of. And if it doesn't really gap at all, then no big deal because the options are pretty cheap. It's a pretty cheap stock. So I don't really see anything yet on SDC, but I do like that trend. Nova, Sun Nova Energy International. I also see this type of trend that we're holding here. Looks pretty decent. Here's the weekly. I like this weekly high wave candle. Nice volume. Looks like we're moving above it. So if you want to play this one, I think a limit buy would be appropriate on Nova as well. I don't think I personally want to trade this. Doesn't excite me too much, but it looks okay. I don't know anything really specific about this stock. DocuSign, I do know about this stock. I do like this one. I added some shares over here. And it does have earnings right around the corner. So let's see if that's actually correct. Yeah, March 11th. So if you're buying DocuSign, just be aware that it does have earnings. Be comfortable holding over earnings if it's a long-term position. Short-term positions, I almost never hold over earnings unless, very similar to Matt, unless I can pay. If I have enough of a profit built into the trade where I can pay for a call or I can sell a caller, like I can sell a call and buy a put profitably, then yeah, I might consider it. Otherwise, I usually just exit before earnings unless it's a longer term position. So pretty much this one has been buy anywhere between 210 and 220 and then sell some anywhere between like 250 to 270 just over and over again. Every time it hits the 100, you could I have been selling puts on it and buying them back a couple days later. Looks like it's going to hold true this time, but it is going to come down to earnings on DocuSign. But it looks good to me. I like it. I'm in on DocuSign for a longer term position. Shopify. Now this one looks pretty interesting here. Here's your weekly. So the weekly, just this is midweek. I wish this would have been Monday and then the weekly would look better. If we gap above this, Shopify is very hard to day trade. It's very, very spready. And the volume is practically like non-existent. So day trading this one is not always the best. It's probably like never a good idea actually. But I do like this. I like this little candle. This is a retest gap. We are retesting, so it could roll over. It has already had earnings. What I would probably do on this one is if I was going to play this, I would probably do like a stop limit at like 1332, and then my limit buy would be at like 1327 or something like that. So basically what that does is it has to trade higher to trigger your tell your broker stop, do something. And then it puts in your limit buy at the lower dollar amount. So then I'd try to get like a $5 pullback, which would probably happen intraday, and then try to take it higher as like a shorter term swing. That's how I think I would set that trade up if I was going to do it. But this is just a massive stop, and I don't think I want to use a $130 stop. I guess you could do this. I don't think I would do that. Because this one, again, just puts in some really big candles. That's the only problem with it. If it keeps going sideways a few more days, if we gap down and chop around in here and then start to break out, probably be a better setup. But if I was playing Shopify, that's how I'd play it. Y'all are being easy today. No like harassment in the chat or nothing. I don't want to poke the bear, but Amazon, we could start. Here they come. That's what makes afternoon run fun. Amazon just absolutely refuses to go higher. I was watching this gap today, and I was like, you know what? This looks like a good gap on Amazon. And I'm like, no, what am I thinking? I was coming down. I turned on, not session volume, sorry. Volume profile, fixed range. And then I just took a look at, okay, when did we break into this area? And look at this volume distribution. I just almost a perfect bell curve. And it's just stuck right in here. So I did add at the 100, or I'm sorry, the 200, the green line right here. I literally bought one share. I think I have like 4 or 5 shares of Amazon. So nothing, massive, I guess, depending on your definition of massive, because it's a $30,000 stock. But I do have a small position. I like Amazon. I do think it goes higher long term, but it is just not doing absolutely anything cool right now. Going sideways is just not that cool, in my opinion. So if you bought off the 200, I get it. I bought a share also. I think that it goes higher over time. I just don't know when that time is going to be. And it doesn't pay dividends, so it could go sideways for, I don't know. It could go sideways another 6 months before it breaks out. So it just depends on how long you want to have your money locked up in it for. Now, the longer it goes sideways, the more like the weekly moving averages are going to move higher, that kind of thing. So, yeah, just nothing that cool on Amazon. If it comes down to 2,900, I'll buy another share or two. Otherwise, it's just going sideways. Pin interest. I mean, you had a whopping, I think you had what, 10 minutes? 20 minutes to catch this pullback on the 23rd? How long was it? 5 minutes? Okay, this 5-minute chart. Yeah, you had less than 5 minutes to catch the pullback on Pinterest. If you didn't get it, you missed it. And it bounced, and it looks like it's thrown in. It's not the greatest morning star I've ever seen, but it does look like it's bouncing. It held up pretty well. So there were a couple people that messaged me like, "Hey, my Pinterest pyramid, I only got the first level." I'm like, "Well, you got more than me because I didn't get anything on that pullback. It happened too darn fast." So might need the time pyramid into this one. So, buy a few shares every week. Mike didn't want it. It might not be, but I can add it to the list because I think we have room. It is now. So yeah, I think Pinterest is going to go higher. I do think it might chop around in here a little bit, but I don't think there's going to be a lot of dips on Pinterest. The other thing that's to go back to Amazon, like when they charge you for Prime, like they don't even tell you, like no reminder email, like, oh, hey, by the way, your Prime is going to renew. All of a sudden, you just get like $130 charge or whatever it is. And then you almost report it as like fraud. And then you're like, oh, yeah, that's my Prime membership. So, fuel cell. Fuel cell. Now, this was an interesting gap today. I do think that fuel cell might be one that, again, I really would like to know if Jeremy's sister is back in. But fuel cell looks kind of cool. Let me see, March 15th. So we got like 2 weeks. April 22nd, actually. Okay, so this is like way trading views over a month off on earnings. So I want to see how it interacts with the 10 the first time it hits it, and then potentially buying a dip. So I'm not gonna draw this, but I'm not gonna make it official yet. Something like this. I do think, let me put purple. Upwork. Hold on 1 second. Sorry. All right, we'll have to edit that out of the video. All right. My cat got his paw stuck on something. All right, Upwork. Oh gosh, how fast was the dip on this thing? This was also really quick, maybe 15 minutes. Yeah, we had about 3 down candles on Upwork, and then it was off to the races. So Upwork probably goes higher. There was quite a bit of whipsaw on this on earnings, so I want to see it go sideways a little bit more. Then I do think that this could be a setup to go bullish. Oops, Etsy. Etsy looks great. Their earnings were good. It held up really nicely on Friday after it stopped us out of the day trade that I back traded multiple times and just got stopped out every single time I back traded it. And then it had a nice move today, closed out at an all-time high. So if you're not in Etsy, I think you could definitely buy the dip. If you are in, if you get one more follow through to the upside, I would probably sell a call, like 300 possible. So yeah, if there's doing after hours, not a whole lot. If there's a follow through day, I would sell a covered call on it, most likely. DraftKings, this was a great gap this morning as well. This one also held up very strong through the bear market of 2021. That that lasted again like 20 minutes over here, maybe. Yeah, so nope, you had about 15 minutes to buy the dip on DraftKings as well. Maybe got a little bit of another shot there, but DraftKings held up really nice. It just didn't really wait for us this morning. It just opened and just ran immediately. So there was maybe a 1 minute. Was there anything on a 1 minute chart? Yeah, maybe this pre-market break on the 1 minute, but everything was up today, so it was a hard trade to take. But DraftKings looks really good. A bunch of folks sold covered calls like March. There was money at March 80 and March 85. That's probably free money. I think what, 18 days till March expiration, all the way up there. So I think Greg sold one, and maybe a couple others in the morning room. We're talking about selling calls. I think today's a great day to do it. Close at a new all-time high. It's up multiple days in a row. It's already had earnings. So yeah, I think that's a great Great plan. This is a retest gap. So if you do want to get in and you're not buying some type of retest, maybe like 64.95, 64.75, a little bit lower than here. Higher than that might be good. Yeah, DraftKings is looking nice. BKL, Blackmore's Limited. This is on the Australian exchange. Okay. Take a look at this. The weekly is looking a little rough. We have a bunch of lower highs, and we do have lower low, higher low. So we have a little bit of a potential pennant here. Long-term moving average. It did close above the 100. So yeah, if you want to take this back above this candle, again, I know nothing about this company at all. Something like this. This would be a stop limit, sorry. Something like that looks okay. I don't know if I would want to do a limit buy here because it could just plunge right through that. I'd want to see continuation higher. They do vitamins. Okay. Because I would want it to hold this kind of trend line. So that's why I wouldn't want to put the limit buy down here. I would want to see it hold above this trend line break and then break higher. There's the chat that I know and love. If you want all the comedy, you got to show up live in the swing trading room, folks. So that's Blackmore's on the Australian exchange. Grubhub. This was one that was not up today. Well, actually, I guess it was up a little tiny bit. Was this even open today? This thing just did nothing. This is horrible to day trade. In my opinion, don't ever day trade this thing. It really, really stinks to day trade. Not looking great. Weekly. Yeah. I wouldn't buy this one. It doesn't look good. Probably way overvalued. I would not be grubbing up on limit buys on this one. Jumanji, nice pullback on Jumia. Earnings was a little bit of a nothing burger. That's a little surprising. I would like to see us close. We have this could be a potential double bottom if we end up doing this and then grab a retest of like the 10 here. So if we can break, close above the 10 and 20, and then we can grab a retest of the 10, something like that. So this one I think could be setting up over the next couple days. Let's make that purple, put it on the watch list. So, but yeah, it's gonna need to break higher and then retest, and then that'll be a nice double bottom play, I think. Yeah. If you're already in, I mean, you definitely want to see it back above these moving averages for sure. Weekly, just an inside candle. Zoom. So this is we're gonna have extra time today, so we might be able to look at a few more. So Zoom, I sold Zoom the other day, my swing trade, and I know this is one a lot of folks were asking me about on, yeah, just hold the thoughts on that, so that way I can add them on here. A lot of folks were asking me about this today. It was a retest gap. It did present nice day trade opportunity. I know I said I would not hold this over earnings. I stand by that. I would not hold this over earnings on a short-term swing or like turning a day trade into a swing trade. It priced in a massive, massive move in the options market. So if you bought calls that do not have more than like this week on them, like if you bought Friday calls, you're probably barely up, even if you bought at the money, just because it was pricing in a massive move. So their earnings were phenomenal. One of the things to just keep in mind is how much better is it going to get for Zoom? Like, this is the final um, earnings report that compares like pre-pandemic to last year. So now every earnings beyond this, they will be comparing. They'll have comparables. They'll have to say like, oh yeah, it doesn't compare because of 2020 and coronavirus, and the COVID pandemic. But every time after this, for another year, each earnings report is going to have that kind of hanging over its head. So they had really, really good results. I was in here looking at them. Their growth is just outstanding. I mean, if you compare, like, look at this, it's just crazy. Revenue in 2020 was 600 and this is fiscal year. So fiscal year 2020, 622 million to 2.6 billion. So it's just, I mean, massive growth. I just think, how much better is it going to get? I don't know. I don't know how much better it can get. It's still being priced relatively aggressively. Let's say you move this up to about 2.6. You're still getting like a high 40s, low 50s price of sales. At least it's not 94 anymore, like it was, in the 90s. But one of the other things is ads. They have zero debt. They have no outstanding debt. So if they need to raise money for anything, which I really don't think they do at this point because they have so much growth, but if they needed to raise money, they for sure can. Are some people sick of Zoom meetings, as Danny is saying? Probably, but at the same token, I think there's some great opportunity if they're able to expand. Like, if they have some additional software integration, they re-up the recording in 1080p instead of 720p, different things like that. I think that Zoom, sorry, it's my Ring doorbell. I do think that Zoom could continue to have some additional growth, but yeah, it's going to be tough. So, if you're in Zoom tomorrow, I would probably look to sell a covered call or take some gains as we are trading back into this pivot point. That there was some resistance in here, and we do have this open gap right here at 460. So that gap is still open, so that could be a target. It almost closed it after hours. WebEx, WebEx, Cisco, old school. Again, I like the product. It's just, dang it, it's gotten so much growth. Like, how much more does it have? Tesla, this is a really good close on Tesla. I was getting a little worried when these closes were happening below this 690 area. So I like the fact that we closed back above. This is the S&P 500 inclusion candle. I think there's a lot of liquidity at this area, and I don't care what color it is, bearish or bullish. I don't believe in bearish or bullish volume, because for every buyer there's a seller. All I care about is who was right. So who was right? People that bought or sold here. So the more people that are correct as far as buying, the better I think it is. So I like seeing the close back above 690, 695, sorry. And then we see the high of this 713, 719 was the high, close 718. So yeah, we did close above this wick too. So I think that's pretty good. As I was sharing with a couple others, this open retest gap, the sooner that this gap fills, the better. Because right now, this is a retest gap. It filled, rolled. So if it does this, that's not going to be great. We want to see it close this gap sooner than later, in my opinion. So Reddit rebellion going to pump Tesla. I don't think they have enough money to pump Tesla anymore. Tesla's too big to be pumped by the Reddit crowd. Too big of a stonk. So yeah, I do like this close on Tesla. These closes were a little bit worrisome. Do I think it could pull back more? I mean, it definitely could. Like if you go to a weekly chart, it feels like it could easily come back into like 512. Or if you go to a monthly, I mean, look at this thing on the month. Your divergence. No, not really. It's weekly. Here there was a little bit. You can see that. This made a higher high while this is making a lower low. So yeah, we'll see what happens with Tesla. I think they're supposed to report their is it production or delivery numbers soon? I think it's production numbers. But I do like this close back above. So if you bought off the 100, hey, I totally get it. I do think that if you bought off the 100, taking some gains, depending on how many shares you bought, if the stock goes up 21% in 2 days, I do think that taking some gains is prudent. You don't have to sell everything that you bought, but maybe just a couple shares, and then you could buy them back right there. So just it depends on how many you bought and all that stuff. Or you can just hodl, yeah, hold on for dear life. So we got a battle right now. Long-term moving average propping it up. Short-term moving averages are curling down on top of it. I do think that this gap is going to be the key right here in 776 area or so. Sooner that fills, the better. The longer it takes to fill, not as good. So that's my thoughts on Tesla. All right, let's see. MRVI. A-Firm, OSTK, SLV, CRM. Oh, someone's asking about Fastly, Peloton. Okay, that should be it. I don't want to get too carried away with them. Just because I know I can't go long. Moravi Life Sciences Holdings. No idea what this is. Is this a SPAC? Okay, no, it's not a SPAC. You had no idea you could use a comma to add multiple stocks? Yeah, you can actually go in here and you can import and export. So like I could go export list and then it's a little text file. How about that? It's a drug research company. Okay, so I wouldn't play this one particularly overnight. This was a good gap this morning. Was this day tradable? Let's go take a look. Volumes, not great. It's kind of like all over the place. But if you were trading by yourself, you probably could have traded this. Yeah, it's a little gappy, but you might have been able to trade it. So I would expect a retest. I actually like this candle right here. That's what I would play it off of. I would do a limit buy like that with a stop right there. Oh, wait, never mind. Earnings tomorrow? Is that correct? Yeah, earnings are tomorrow. I definitely would not hold this thing over earnings unless you like really know about it. This is only the second earnings ever. So I have no idea. Yeah, see you later, Josiah. Have a good one. So unless you really know about this one, I would hold off for the earnings. A-Firm. I'm gonna go ahead and say that's a negative, Ghost Rider. Not affirmative on this. Ouch. This one's getting hit. It is coming potentially below this IPO low again. So this candle broke it. It's really too bad like this hammer didn't hold. So I would wait for it to come a little bit lower and then throw in a reversal pattern. I would not just throw a limit buy out there on it. I would wait for it. Kind of like this reminds me of Big C. So Big C, once you broke back below here again, like rather than just throwing in a limit buy up here and just getting crushed, waiting for a little bit of a reversal, whether it's like this breakout and then the retest, or like this double bottom, even if you got in here or here, like this is pretty profitable. So that's what I'm kind of thinking of on A firm is I would wait for a reversal. Like you can keep it on a watch list because it is going to be breaking the IPO low, but I wouldn't just limit buy it down there. I would wait for a reversal on it personally, unless you again know something like really cool about this company. I don't. So Overstock. Let's see this. These are all gone. Big pullback on Overstock. This thing got shredded on earnings. Could you throw a one in the chat if you've ever bought anything on Overstock? I'm just curious how many we would have. 1, 2, 7, 8, 9, 10. Just shares. Okay, so some people have bought from it. A lot are saying once. Worst return policy ever. How many have bought something from Overstock twice? Put a 2 in. If you've actually gone back. Okay, we got 5 people. 6. So it went from like 15 to 20 if you've bought once to like 6 people that have bought twice or more out of 104. And apparently they have a bad return policy. So I personally wouldn't trade Overstock. I just don't really think they're all that great. I've looked on the website. I've never really wanted to buy anything off of there. This weekly candle is pretty brutal. I would say wait a little bit longer. Where's the long-term moving averages? It is at the 100. So if you're trying to play it down in here, great. Otherwise, I would say wait for the 200. It did bounce off the 200 the last couple times. Like it went through the 100 like Swiss cheese. Um, didn't really stop too much on it there. Have a little bit of a pivot here. I would say the 200 would be a better spot personally if I were in Overstock. I don't really know much about this earnings report, but yeah, I've heard much better things about Wayfair. Yeah, I know Wayfair has a good return policy, but if you're trying it, I guess this is in this zone is a spot to do it. Silver was looking so good on the 22nd, and then this was just Trapzilla over here. Edward says, yeah, this is not. I mean, this looks really like who bought up here? I mean, ouch, they're just getting hammered. Reddit, yeah, they got absolutely destroyed. So there is a lot of people trapped. This candle looked really good, but we took it out. I mean, within a couple days. Um, Back down into like 2350. I think it's probably good. But if I was in based off of any of this over here, I would want to be out now. I wouldn't want to be in anymore. Trading paper silver. Leaps are still up a few bucks. Personally, I would probably just take the gain and then maybe you could rebuy them like when we fill this gap because I think we probably will. And you got the 100 again here. This is a retest gap. It's still open. You got them on this gap down. Okay. Yeah, well, I guess it depends on where your stop is. Then if you got them on the gap down, I guess your stop would probably need to be like down in here, 2250. But yeah, it doesn't look good. It looks like there's some people trapped. This weekly chart, I mean, look at this.
It's a trap.
Look at all this volume all the way up here that's trapped now. I really don't like that on silver. Yeah, they got hammered on that one. CRM, so I do like this stock, as they say on Reddit. I like this stock. The 290 covered call that expired worthless, got bought back for a penny by a lot of people. I probably should have just sold the dang leap as soon as it went in the money. However, at least I did sell the covered call. The reason I did not sell the leap here is because I had my bigger order off the 200 and it didn't get filled, and so I bought the leap here. So it's not really down all that much, but that's the reason that I didn't sell the leap as soon as it went in the money. I also have shares. I just sold the call, so I think I made like $100 on the call, $95, something like that. But this is one of my more favoriter companies longer term. This is where I'm still buying. I bought a little bit more after hours when it gapped down on earnings off 220. I bought a little bit more at this blue line again. Bullishest. Yeah, bullishest. So I do like CRM long term. And as I am saying, like, I'm buying more, I'm not buying like, I bought 100 shares, then another 100, and then another 100. I'm buying like 5-10 shares every time and just stacking it up. So basically what I did is I took the amount that I was going to buy here and I bought a little bit after hours, and then I added a little bit more. So I'm doing a little bit more of a time pyramid on this one, Edward. So I'm waiting for it to consolidate, and if we break out a little bit, then I will, if we break back up and we get a good close, like back above 226 or so, like I'll probably add another leap. And then if it trades up into here, I'll sell one of the leaps, keep holding my shares, maybe sell a call, that kind of thing. If it just starts rampaging lower, then my next add is probably like, if we start breaking down this level, like 213, my next add is not going to be until 200. Because I think that's where the weekly 50 is. Let me double check. There's a weekly, the weekly 50 is actually 215, so we just hit it. So weekly 50 is right here. Here's Edwards, 210, 196. Yeah, I don't personally think we're going to get there. We definitely could. Like if you look at this on the weekly, one could easily say like, well, Robert, that's a double top with a neckline retest, and now it's rolling over. So I get it. But I'm a believer in CRM longer term. So Joseph says he sees bear. I mean, put it this way, the market was having a crazy day, and this thing like barely went up. It was just not all that great. Not all that great today. So if the market rolls over, like, I want to see this hold up. If the market rolls over and this continues lower, I'm not going to add until 200. I want to see this thing go sideways in here, start to bounce, at least stop going down. So that's my plan on CRM. Kind of like Fastly. So like right now, where I'm going to cut bait on Fastly is if it comes down and does not hold 60. I'm just going to throw this thing in the trash and lose a bit of money. If it comes down in here and bounces, like, that's cool. If we trade up into the 10 and we have any type of strength, then I don't think we should take out this low. So I do still have the put sale. I I got the same leap that Jeremy bought, and then I also have a, I think it's like a seven, is it a 75 or 80? Let me double check. I have a September call on it also. I have a September $80 call. That's that is profitable. So this thing did go down fastly. When Datadog reported, this thing started getting beat up. It's down 43%. Down into 60 is like the 50% marker. So, but that's why you don't add, like, you're not buying, like, your first time buying, you're like, oh, let me buy 5 leaps. Unless you plan on buying like 20 of them. You're not buying 5 leaps right away on the thing. Do we get put shares? I don't know. So right now, like, my alert level is down around 60. We start to trade up in here, roll down, and then start to bounce again. Like if we do this, we trade up like this, do that, and then we start to bounce again. Like my alert level is coming up in here. So it same one, like, okay, this is at least stopped going down. So that's like one thing. Now, as long as it can start to go sideways, get some consolidation. Now, if we start making a move higher, like, then I can add a little bit. Because I've already got some on the dip. So I don't have to, like, wait for another rotation lower. Now, if we at least stop going down, start going sideways, then have like a really nice gap and then a retest, like, then I'll add. Like, just, give it a little bit of time. Like, it's not going to do this, I don't think. I don't think it does that. If it does, cool. That's great. I'm in a couple things on it. I have a couple leaps, got a call. I've got the put sale. So, but yeah, I don't think we go rocketing back to 105 in the next, like, I don't see it getting there before April 1st. If it does, great. But otherwise, just be patient. Pelothian. So Pelothian also relatively weak. This one has definitely broke some trend lines. Really, really poor candle there. It did hold up okay today. It didn't start bouncing until like later in the afternoon, though. Yeah, over here it finally started bouncing. So Pelothian, I really don't think you want it to take out this candle. If it takes out this candle right here, I either wouldn't want to be in it anymore or I would buy protection. So the 200, is down here. It's never hit it. So I don't know how it'll interact with it, but back to $80. It definitely could. Not really sure. All I can tell you right now that the gym is packed. At least where I'm at, the gym is busy. All seniors, by the way, in the middle of the day. So I can actually out exercise some of them. But I think before nap time, JS. Yeah, I mean, you all saw some of them with jeans. Yeah, they got the shot. Exactly. They're out there grinding. So yeah, Peloton, I mean, it's holding up okay, but if we take this hammer out, I don't think it looks that good. The monthly, I mean, I could easily see this thing pulling back. So the ones that I think we could set up over the next, I want to see how Fuel Cell interacts with the 10. And then we'll see our MMRD in. And then Jumanji, if it trades up here, I think we could get a little double bottom, neckline retest, and then go higher. So those are the two that I'm looking at. So let me go in and notepad. Let's see, Rocket, AMWL, Arlo, and get some requests. AI, PLTR, EVRI, Beam me up. Sounds like a song. Billy, or no, Bill.com. FSR, FE, Frog, AMD, AMRS, PLG, Codex, U, J&J. Actually, why am I holding shift? I can just put the cap locks on. Baba. Hold on, we're going a little fast here. TWST. Lost my place. T-Dog, Splunk, Beyond the Meat, HITIF, CLDR. I got AMD, T-Doc, Pins, DraftKings, Race, Rite Aid. That's still a company. Okay. All right. I think that will be it for mañana. That should be good. And then, yeah, have a good rest of your day, everyone. We'll see if the bounce continues tomorrow. I do think we have a little bit of follow through, and then we'll see what happens. So, if we just gap down and just get wrecked, then yeah, that's not going to be great. But I think we have a little bit of follow through to the bullish side, then maybe retest, chop around a bit. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good rest of your evening, everyone. And love life, trade it.